Okay, so let us start. So we were discussing about the Gauss theorem, and in our earlier lecture, I briefed about the Gauss theorem and how Gauss theorem and Gauss law they are advanced than the Coulomb law. So there were some drawbacks in the Coulomb law. That's why we shifted to the new law. And what were the drawbacks in the Coulomb law? Coulomb law it was applicable only for the point charges. We were able to find the force between only the point charges. But if there was a distribution of charges and distribution of charges at 2 points, so it was very difficult to find out the force between the means the total force. That was very difficult. But with the help of Gauss theorem, we can find out the force between the two charges or force electric field at a point due to a distribution of charges. So electric field we can find out with the help of Gauss theorem. But यहाँ पे एक important चीज है, Gauss theorem का भी एक important point है नोट करने वाला. Gauss theorem वहां पे लागू होगी जहाँ पे चार्ज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिमेट्रिकल होगा. सो आई विल डिस्कस इट इन डिटेल. सो ये हमने अपने प्रीवियस लेक्चर में किया था Gauss theorem, and according to Gauss theorem the total flux that was equal to total charge enclosed by epsilon naught. The total charge enclosed by a surface divided by epsilon naught. So if we know the total charge enclosed within a surface, then it is very easy to find out total flux coming out from the surface. So this is the flux coming out from the surface, and epsilon naught it was the permittivity of the free space. So it means from some object, from some body having some charge, flux is coming out, and flux is coming out in free space. So this is the epsilon naught permittivity of the free space. So phi is a flux in free space. So whatever flux is there in the body, we are not concerned with that. We are concerned with the flux which is in the free space. So according to Gauss theorem, the total flux in the free space, it is equal to total charge enclosed by the object divided by epsilon. And we also know phi can be written as E dot ds with closed surface integral. Why we are taking this closed surface integral? Because we have to enclose the charge in a Gaussian surface, and Gaussian surface is a closed surface. So that's why the closed surface integral is taken. So if we take the open surface, then the charge will leak, and if the charge is leaking, then it means we cannot fix the value of charge. Similarly, we cannot fix the value of flux. So it is very difficult to fix the value of flux. And when it is difficult to fix the value of flux, hardly we can find out a fixed value of electric field. So there is a need to fix Q so that we can fix phi, and finally that will give a fixed electric field at certain point. So this is also the part of our earlier lecture, and in that we find electric field due to a point charge using Gauss law. Electric field at a point. So this was the point where we put the charge, and then we try to find out electric field at a point P. So or at any point A. So at any point A, or we can find out electric field. So we place the charge at this point and we enclose the charge in a Gaussian surface. We took a small part of the Gaussian surface having small area element ds. So the flux through this small element was d phi is equal to E dot ds. D phi is equal to E dot ds. This first equation already we know that electric field due to a point charge, already we know it. But now our target is to find out the flux. So how to find out the flux? D phi is equal to E dot ds. So just place the value of electric field, place this value over here, and we will get d phi. So now we have d phi, and d phi is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square into ds. We just put the value, of electric field. So this is the value of electric field. And now we have flux passing through the small area element ds. Now the total flux of a Gaussian surface, we can find out that by integrating d phi. Here we will integrate ds because electric field is fixed. A fixed electric field is coming radially outward from the Gaussian surface. So this can be taken outside of the integration, and only in the integration we have ds. So when we integrate ds, we will get s. This is constant. It is out of the integration, and d phi becomes phi. So the total flux coming out from the Gaussian surface due to a point charge placed inside the Gaussian surface is phi is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. And we know that surface area of the Gaussian surface, because that is a sphere, and the surface area is 4 pi r square. So this 4 pi is cancelled, and this r square is also cancelled. So finally, the Gauss law is proved. So this is Gauss law, or you can say this is the deduction of Gauss law from the Coulomb law. Actually, हमने कहाँ से start किया? हमने इसको Coulomb law से start किया from equation number 1. Let me go back again. So this is the equation from the Coulomb law. Coulomb law gives the electric field at some point P due to a point charge. So electric field is equal to 1 upon, so let me just show you. So suppose we have a point charge, positive charge over here, and this is plus Q charge, and at a certain distance R, we take a point P, okay, and we want to find out electric field at this point P, EP. We want to find out EP, electric field at this point P. So we place a test charge over here. Test charge is Q naught. So from the Coulomb law, we can find out E is equal to force upon test charge. Now we can find out force between these two charges. So that is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught, because we have these two charges, and square of the distance between the two charges, R square. And again, because in the denominator we have this test charge, I will place this test charge over here, this Q naught. Finally, this Q naught is cancelled. So we are left with 1 upon 4 pi epsilon Q upon R square, the same equation. So this is from the Coulomb law. This equation is from the Coulomb law. So this is from the Coulomb law. And now from the Coulomb law, we will derive the Gauss law. So this is the derivation of the Gauss law from the Coulomb law. So take the value of electric field derived from the Coulomb law. This is this equation. And then we will find out the Gauss law. So we know that now we will take a Gaussian surface, and we will place the charge in a Gaussian surface. So now this charge, this single charge, it is placed in a Gaussian surface. Now the single charge plus Q charge, it is placed inside a Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface having the total surface area S is equal to 4 pi r square. 4 pi r square. The total surface area. R is the radius of the Gaussian surface. The radius R of the Gaussian surface. And we took the small area ds. So the flux through the ds, because charge is emitting radial electric field in all the direction. Radial electric field in all the direction. So the flux will pass through this ds also. So this is the flux passing through this ds. And this flux can be written as d phi is equal to E dot ds. So now just put the value of E from the Coulomb law. Put the value of E from the Coulomb law, and we will get the flux. So now we get the flux. So this is the flux through the small area element ds. And the total flux, we took whole of this quantity outside of the integration, and within the integration only ds, and the integration of ds is s. Here integration of d phi is phi. So s surface area is 4 pi r square. So finally we get the Gauss law. So this is the topic, deduction of Gauss law from the Coulomb law. Very important topic, deduction of Gauss law from the Coulomb law. So now what are the uses of Gauss law? Already in my previous lecture I discussed. So Gauss law simplify electric field calculations where there is a symmetry in charge distribution. Now let me discuss this point, how Gauss law is a powerful law. So symmetry in charge distribution. Symmetry in charge distribution. So let me take, we have certain charges distributed like this. Certain charges distributed like this. So if I take a point P and I want to find out the total electric field at this point, due to these charges, then from the Coulomb law I cannot find, because from the Coulomb law I should have the knowledge of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and the total charge, suppose it is Q. Total charge is Q. But the problem is from where I can take the distance of this point. From where? यहाँ से distance को लेंगे, यहाँ से distance को लेंगे, या यहाँ से distance को count करें, so ये यहाँ से distance को count करें. So the problem is of distance. So Coulomb law fails here. क्योंकि ये R का जो प्रॉब्लम है, R स्क्वायर, ये कहाँ से हमें मेजर करना है, ये प्रॉब्लम है. So this is the problem. This is the problem with the Coulomb law. With the Coulomb law. But the problem can be solved in the Gauss law. In the Gauss law it can be solved. But again, there is a statement, symmetry in charge. So symmetry in charge, so let me discuss. This is not a case of symmetry. This is not a case of symmetry. So Gauss law can deal with the large charges, but they must be symmetrical. How? So let me brief that also. So let me take, what is the meaning of symmetrical? Symmetrical means let me take a road and the total length is 2L. Total length is 2L. From here to here it is 2L. This is L, this is also L. So suppose here some charges are there, and if we want to explain symmetry means 50% रोड के ऊपर जितना चार्ज होगा रिमेनिंग 50% के ऊपर भी उतना ही चार्ज होना चाहिए. सो दैट इज अ सिमेट्री ऑफ चार्ज. जितना लेफ्ट साइड में चार्ज है एल लेंथ के ऊपर जितना चार्ज है, राइट साइड में भी एल लेंथ के ऊपर उतना ही चार्ज होना चाहिए. नाउ अगर हमारे पास कोई ऐसी चीज है तो इट मींस दिस रोड इज सिमेट्रिकल, है ना. लेट मी टेक ए स्फीयर. अब मैंने एक स्फीयर लिया. अब इस स्फीयर के ऊपर चार्ज है. चार्जेस आर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ओवर द sphere. Imagine it's a three-dimensional sphere. Here it look like a circle, but imagine it is three-dimensional. So symmetrical means if I take the axial line. So axial line का मतलब minus x2 plus x, minus x2 plus x. So जितना चार्ज ये upper portion में होगा उतना ही चार्ज lower portion में होगा. If I take the y-axis minus y to plus y, तो जितना चार्ज लेफ्ट पोर्शन में होगा उतना ही चार्ज राइट पोर्शन में होगा. सो ऐसी सिचुएशन अगर है, सो इन दैट केस, और बहुत सारे चार्जेस तो हैं ही, सो वी कैन फाइंड आउट द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड एट ए पॉइंट एट डिस्टेंस r फ्रॉम द रोड वेरी इजीली. बहुत सारे चार्जेस हैं, इनके कारण इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड किसी r डिस्टेंस पे निकालना इजी है क्योंकि ये सिमेट्री केस है. यहाँ पे भी एक स्फीयर के कारण निकालना इजी है क्योंकि ये एक सिमेट्रिकल केस है. एक क्यूब है, क्यूब के कारण भी इजी है. ये क्यूब हमने लिया और उसमें भी सेम चीज है कि हमारे पास क्यूब को हम किसी भी सेगमेंट में डिवाइड करेंगे, सो चार्जेस सिमेट्रिकल होने चाहिए. सो वी कैन फाइंड आउट द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड एट एनी पॉइंट P at a distance r from the center of the cube, centroid of the cube, or from the center of the sphere, or from the center of the road. यहाँ पे कोई पॉइंट P लेके. So this is a case of symmetry. So symmetry अगर है चार्जेस में, then the Gauss law is valid. अगर symmetry नहीं है, means यहाँ पे लेफ्ट पोर्शन में चार्जेस ज्यादा हैं, राइट पोर्शन में चार्जेस कम हैं, ओके, तो कूलम लॉ वैलिड नहीं होगा क्योंकि यहाँ पे एसिमेट्रिकल हो गया. ऐसे ही स्फीयर के ऊपर, स्फीयर के अपर पोर्शन पे चार्ज डेंसिटी ज्यादा है, लोअर पोर्शन पे चार्ज डेंसिटी कम है. सो एसिमेट्रिकल केस हो गया. सो वहां पे भी गॉस लॉ काम नहीं करेगा. सो सिमेट्रिकल केसेस के लिए ही वी कैन यूज द गॉस लॉ. So let us take one application which is the part of today's lecture. We will take a road having symmetrical charge distribution and we will try to find out the electric field at some point P at a distance r. So in my previous lecture we discussed already these questions. In Gauss theorem, the total electric flux over a closed surface is equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times the charge enclosed within the surface. Now, today's lecture is the application of Gauss theorem. So from some symmetric charge configuration, how it is possible to obtain electric field in a simple way using the Gauss law. So if we have a symmetry charge distribution, then it's very easy and convenient to find out electric field with the help of Gauss law. So we will take a case. We have infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. Infinitely long. So not this point. Our road is infinitely long. It's not a finite road. So infinite road, again, it is an important point here. So infinite road, we have the case of finite road also. So we will discuss that later. But right now we have infinite long straight uniformly charged road. Uniform charged road hai, so it is a case of symmetry. Now suppose the charge density, consider an infinitely long thin straight wire. It's a wire, very thin, infinitely long wire with uniform linear charge density lambda, which is equal to charge, total charge upon total length, or charge per unit length, you can say. So this is our thin rod, and over this thin rod, charge is uniformly distributed. So let me ignore this diagram, and I have one more diagram. So let me go for that. So just look at this diagram. We took very thin, infinitely long rod having uniform distribution of positive charge over it. So look it carefully. This is a very thin, infinite long rod having symmetrical charge distribution. Means if I break this rod into two parts, then upper part and lower part, they will have equal charge density or equal charge distribution. So the case is symmetrical. Now we can apply the Gauss law. So our target is to find out, our target is to find out the electric field at this point P, at a distance R from the rod. You can take R distance from here, from any part you can take. So the total, now, because the road is infinite, so what I will do, I will assume a very small length element here and very small length element here, and the distance between these two length element is L, this L. So enclose this road into a Gaussian surface, and for a road, the Gaussian surface is a cylindrical surface. Okay, so Gaussian surface जो हमें choose करना है, वो हमारी रोड को पूरा enclose करे, पूरा enclose. Means जो रोड के ऊपर हमने ये L length का जो segment choose किया, that segment must be fully enclosed, that must be fully encapsulated by the Gaussian surface, ताकि पूरा का पूरा चार्ज Gaussian surface के अंदर enclosed हो जाए, पूरा चार्ज enclosed हो जाए. So जो बाहर चार्ज है, अब वो हमारे किसी काम का नहीं है. जो जितना भी चार्ज Gaussian surface से बाहर है, we will just ignore that charge, and our focus is on the charge which is enclosed within the Gaussian surface. So now the length of the rod is defined. It is a finite segment having length L, and our interest is to find out electric field at a point P at a distance R from the center of the rod. Now means this is L by 2 and this is again L by 2. So this is L by 2 upper part, and lower part again it is L by 2. So now we can apply the Gauss law, and you see the Gaussian surface. So this is our Gaussian surface, dash dash surface. It is a Gaussian surface, and this Gaussian surface has two type of surfaces. You see upper surface, it is a flat surface. Lower surface, again it is a flat surface. But this means other surface is a curved surface. The rolling surface, that is a curved surface. So two types of surfaces are there. So if we see carefully at the cylindrical part of the surface, E is normal to the surface because this is the cylindrical part, and on this cylindrical part, this E is normal to the surface at the cylindrical part, because this rod is emitting electric field in the left, in radially outward. So field lines are moving in this direction, in the left, in the right, in the back, in the front. Okay, so 0 to 360 degree, the field lines are emitted radially outward, but no field line is going in upside or in the downside. So So if we look at the curved surface, this is the curved surface. So electric lines, they are perpendicular to the curved surface. But electric lines, E is normal to the surface at every point. It is, but they are parallel to any area vector. So if I take the area vector, means any normal area vector, means I take a small area element over here. So let just me draw. I take a small area element of the curved surface having the ds area, ds. So if I draw a unit vector on this ds, so this is the unit vector. So let me take a unit vector n on this area vector. So now note carefully the direction of electric field and this normal, they are parallel. They are parallel. So you take any side, either this side or you take any point P in this side also. So if you take any point P here also, again, this is the same distance R, and you choose any small area element ds and take a normal to the ds, that is taken a unit vector n. Now electric field, again they are coming in this direction. So again the electric field is parallel to the, it is parallel to the unit vector, is parallel to unit vector, but it is perpendicular to the curved surface. Okay, so this is the curved surface, electric field is, so in both the cases electric field E is parallel to this unit vector. Unit vector means छोटा सा हमने surface element लिया, उसके ऊपर ये normal है, छोटा सा surface element ये हमने लिया, उस छोटे से surface element के ऊपर ये हमने normal ड्रा किया, perpendicular ड्रा किया. इस perpendicular की डायरेक्शन वही डायरेक्शन है जो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की डायरेक्शन है. सो E is parallel to n. Also हम ऐसे भी बोल सकते हैं, also we can say that E is electric field, it is perpendicular to the curved surface, and curved surface is 2 pi RL, means perpendicular to the curved surface. So this is the important point here. Electric field is perpendicular to the curved surface. Okay. So let me go for the second surface, which is the flat surface. The flat surface. The second surface is flat surface. So this is the flat surface. This upper surface and this lower surface, it is a flat surface. Flat surface. So if I take any electric lines, they are moving either this side or either this side. Electric lines radially outward they are moving, because this is a road having positive charge, so the field lines, they will be radially outward. But if I take a small area element ds, if I take a small area element ds, so this is my ds, and if I take a normal to this ds, so that will be a unit vector n. Now you see electric field is perpendicular to normal vector. Okay, so it means इस पार्ट में कोई भी कंट्रीब्यूशन इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का काउंट नहीं करेंगे, सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन होगा वो कर्व्ड सरफेस पे काउंट करेंगे. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे भी E और N के बीच में E is perpendicular to normal unit vector N. So unit vector E is perpendicular to unit vector. So let me discuss these cases, uppercase and lowercase. These are not going to contribute any flux. So flux is equal to E dot ds is equal to E ds cos theta. E ds cos theta. So here angle between E and ds, it is 90 degree, and cos 90 is equal to 0. So phi is equal to 0. So flux phi is equal to 0. So there is no flux. There is no flux through the flat surface, upper flat and the lower flat, because E is perpendicular to N, okay, or E is perpendicular to ds. The angle between them is 90 degree. So cos 90 is 0. So the flux is 0. So no flux through the upper flat and no flux through the lower flat. Only the flux that will be through the curved surface. So now firstly, we will find out the flux through the curved surface. Okay, so let me go. The surface area of the curved surface is 2 pi RL. So L is the length of the cylinder. And now we'll find the flux through the curved surface. So flux through the Gaussian surface, which is now a curved surface, means phi is equal to, so I can take phi, this is phi. So phi is equal to flux through the curved surface part. So flux is equal to the total flux through the curved surface is equal to E dot area of the curved surface, and area of the curved surface is 2 pi RL. So now the flux through the curved surface is equal to E cross 2 pi RL. And we also know that flux can be written as, this phi can be written as phi is equal to total charge enclosed upon epsilon naught. We can write the flux like this. So now place the value 2 pi RL at this place of phi. So we will get E cross 2 pi RL is equal to. Now we also know that linear charge density lambda is equal to charge upon length. Charge upon length. So from here we can find out Q is equal to lambda. So Q is equal to lambda into L. Q is equal to, this is equal, so Q is equal to lambda into L. So place the value of Q, lambda into L. So E into 2 pi RL is equal to Q by epsilon naught, and Q is replaced by lambda into L. So now this L is cancelled. So E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi R epsilon naught. So this is the value of electric field at a point P. So we took a rod. This was the rod having charges, positive charges like this. And we enclose this rod in a Gaussian surface. So this was a Gaussian surface. This was the Gaussian surface. And we took this point P at a distance R. So this was the point P. So this is the value of electric field at this point. The same value of electric field that will be there. Means symmetrically, three-dimensionally, you move around the rod. So at all the points at a fixed distance R, so you will get this value of electric field. So note this carefully. We find that E is inversely proportional to R. E is inversely proportional to 1 upon R. This is 1 upon R. If I draw a graph between E and R, this is R and this is E. So my graph, so when R is 0, so here R is 0. So 1 upon 0 means infinity. So E will be infinity at this point. But if we increase the value of R, the E decreases. So the graph will be like this. So this will be our graph. Now we can write this because electric field is a vector. So we will write this equation in the vector form. So vector E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught R. And this is called unit vector R. So actual equation is E E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught into R, and here R unit vector, or this is the actual equation, this is the unit vector, a cap dalegi R के ऊपर, so this becomes electric field, means the final equation of electric field in vector form. This is the vector form, so this was the total derivation of electric field at a point due to uniform charge distributed over an infinitely long thin rod. So let me just so I have only 2 minutes now, so let me take the attendance. Anjali, Priya and Raj. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so Anjali, Priya and Raj. Today we have one more lecture of physics, so we will take the extension of the same topic in our next lecture. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.